Evan Cole woke up before the sun that day. The small room was cold. The ceiling fan made a slow, tired sound like it was also nervous. Evan lay still for a moment, staring at the cracks above him. His heart was beating fast. Today was not a normal day. Today was the day that could change his life. Evan was 19 years old. He lived in the lower districts where broken machines were more common than working ones. His clothes were old. His shoes were worn, but his dreams were still alive. For as long as he could remember, Evan loved machines. When other kids played games, Evan sat beside junk piles. He opened broken engines. He cleaned rusted parts. He learned how things worked by breaking his hands and fixing his mistakes. No teacher had trained him. No school had accepted him, but the machines listened to him. Today, the interstellar shipyard was hearing. That shipyard was a place people whispered about. Huge alien ships docked there every day. Humans and aliens worked together. If you got a job there, your life was no longer small. Your family no longer worried about food or rent. Your future finally had shape. Evan washed his face with cold water and looked at himself in the mirror. His eyes were tired but bright. He wore his only clean jacket. It did not fit well, but he pulled it straight anyway. "Don't mess this up," he whispered to himself. He stepped outside into the busy streets. The city was waking up. Flying vehicles passed above. Vendors shouted below. Evan walked fast, afraid that even time was against him. He practiced answers in his head. "I work hard. I learn fast. I will not waste this chance." As the shipyard towers came into view, Evan felt his chest tighten. He was close. Just a little more and everything would change. Then, a loud metal scream cut through the air. The ground shook. People shouted. Evan stopped. Smoke rose from a nearby docking lane. A small alien ship had crashed into the side platform. Sparks flew like angry fireflies. Alarms began to howl. Crowds backed away in fear. Security guards ran toward the area. Some shouted orders, others froze. Evan's heart pounded. He looked at the shipyard gates ahead. The interview time was near. If he stopped now, he would be late. If he was late, he would lose everything. Then he saw the alien. The alien stood beside the ship, tall and blue-skinned, with 4 glowing eyes wide with panic. Its hands shook as it tried to open a broken panel. The translator on its chest sparked and failed. The ship's engine made a dangerous, uneven sound. Evan knew that sound. It meant core failure. If the engine exploded, the alien would die. Others might die too. Evan's feet would not move forward. His mind screamed at him to run, to go to the interview, to save himself. But his hands clenched. He remembered every machine that had spoken to him. Every time he had fixed something no one else cared about. Every time he had helped without reward. Evan turned around. He ran toward the broken ship. "Hey," someone shouted, "get back." Evan didn't listen. He climbed onto the ship, heat burning his skin. He ripped open the panel with his bare hands. Alien wires glowed strange colors. The design was different, but the rules of balance, pressure, and flow were the same. His fingers burned, sparks cut his arms, his jacket tore. The alien watched him, frozen in shock. Evan worked fast. Sweat dripped into his eyes, his hands moved on instinct. He rerouted power, he cut one line, he sealed another. The engine screamed once more. Then slowed. The shaking stopped. Silence fell. Evan collapsed onto the platform, breathing hard. The ship was stable. Slowly, the alien stepped forward. Its translator flickered back to life. "You saved my ship," the alien said softly. "Why would you do this?" Evan smiled weakly and looked at the shipyard towers in the distance. "Because someone needed help," he said. Only then did Evan check the time. His interview had already started. And his heart sank. Evan's chest heaved as he stepped back from the ship. Sparks still flickered along the cracked panels, and a faint smell of burning metal hung in the air. He wiped sweat from his brow and looked at the alien standing in front of him. Its four glowing eyes were wide, filled with something Evan couldn't name. Fear, relief, maybe a mixture of both. The translator on the alien's chest flickered weakly before a voice finally came out in broken English. I did not expect help." The words were halting, awkward, but they carried gratitude heavier than Evan had ever felt from anyone before. The alien's hands trembled slightly as it pointed at the damaged controls. Evan shook his head. "It's fine, just be careful, that engine could have." He stopped. He knew exactly what could have happened. The core meltdown of an alien ship wasn't like a human car explosion. It could have destroyed everything on this dock, people, buildings, himself, but it hadn't, and somehow he had fixed it. The alien stepped closer, tilting its head as if studying him like a complicated machine. "Why help me? Why risk yourself?" Its voice carried no accusation, only curiosity. Evan shrugged, trying to sound casual, but the words felt heavy in his throat. "Someone had to do it. If no one fixed it, it would have been worse." He looked away, feeling the weight of the shipyard gates in the distance. His heart sank as he realized what he had done. He had sacrificed his dream. The interview, the chance of a lifetime. His hands itched to grab the gates to run, but they wouldn't move. Something inside him had shifted. He had always thought success meant opportunity, recognition, climbing higher than anyone else. But standing here, watching this strange alien whose ship might have exploded just moments ago, Evan realized that some chances were more important than others. A group of people had gathered a short distance away, whispering and pointing. Some were horrified that a human had climbed onto an alien ship without permission. Others were in awe. Evan ignored them. His focus was on the trembling blue figure in front of him. "Stabilized?" the alien asked cautiously, stepping a bit closer to the repaired engine. Sparks no longer flew from the panels. The hum of power was steady. Evan nodded, wiping his sweaty palms on his torn jacket. "Yeah, it's stable, should run fine now, but you'll need to check everything before leaving." He paused, noticing a small scar on the alien's forearm. It glowed faintly, some kind of energy burned from the engine's meltdown. "And be careful with this part," he added, pointing. The alien looked at him, and for the first time, Evan noticed something else. It was not fear now, but a quiet respect. "You risked yourself, for me? Why?" Evan swallowed hard. He didn't have a ready answer. Part of him wanted to say, "Because that's what people do." But he knew the alien wouldn't understand human cliches. Part of him simply said, softly, "Because someone needed help." The alien's eyes brightened with a strange, silent acknowledgement. Then it pointed at the distant shipyard gates. "You hurry." Evan's stomach sank. He glanced at his wrist display. The time was gone. His interview had started, probably ended. The doors were likely closed now. He felt a mix of frustration and despair claw at his chest. Years of preparation, sleepless nights learning machines, studying ship schematics, dreaming of this day, all gone in a few moments. He shook his head and forced a weak smile. "Yeah, I was supposed to be there." The alien's head tilted again, its four eyes fixed on him. "Then lost." Its voice was soft, almost human in its empathy. Evan looked down, hiding his emotions. "I guess so." For a long moment they stood in silence, two strangers on a dock, the city moving around them. Evan wanted to regret helping, to feel bitter, but he couldn't. Somewhere deep inside, a small warmth remained. He had saved a life. He had done something important. Then he heard the rumble of engines and the shouts of the crowd. People were calling him, pointing toward the shipyard. "Hey, human, time's up." Evan turned toward the gates, his heart heavy. The dream he had chased for years was slipping through his fingers. He wanted to run, to beg, to scream. But his hands remained at his sides. His eyes lingered on the alien one last time. "Good luck," he whispered. The alien's eyes glowed softly, almost like a silent thank you. "You helped, you brave." Evan nodded, then turned and ran. Not toward glory, not toward success, but toward the closed doors that now represented everything he had worked for, and everything he had risked. And somewhere deep inside, he realized that the world he had dreamed of might not yet be lost. Something was waiting for him. He just didn't know what it was yet. Evan ran as fast as he could, but the streets of the lower district were crowded with people, vendors, and hovering vehicles. His jacket was torn, his hands still burned from the sparks, and sweat ran into his eyes. Every step felt heavier than the last. The gates of the interstellar shipyard were close, but it was too late. He already knew it. The heavy doors loomed ahead, closing slowly. Guards moved in formation. Their metallic armor glinted under the morning sun. Evan shouted, waving his arms, but it was useless. One of the guards stepped forward. "Interview over," he said, voice flat, almost cruel in its simplicity. "You missed your slot. Come back tomorrow." Evan froze. The words hit harder than any explosion he had ever felt. Missed slot, missed opportunity, missed chance. All the years of preparation, all the late nights studying schematics, all the scrap parts he had pieced together with trembling hands. It felt like it had vanished in a heartbeat. He tried to explain, desperation clawing at his chest. "Wait, I had a reason. Something happened. I saved." The guard shook his head. "Rules are rules, human." Evan's knees weakened. He sank onto the curb outside the shipyard, his palms pressed against the concrete. His vision blurred with frustration, exhaustion, and disbelief. His dream, the only thing he had clung to, was gone. He had sacrificed it. He had chosen to help. And now he had nothing. He looked at the sky above the towering city. Flying vehicles zipped past, people went about their business, and somewhere far above, alien ships glimmered as they docked. The world moved on, indifferent, and he sat there, small, broken, and hollow inside. Tears blurred his vision. He wanted to scream, to hit something, to cry loud enough for the city to hear. But all that came out was a shaky breath and the quiet sound of his own regrets. He had done what he believed was right. He had saved a life, but in doing so, he had lost his own dream. The memory of the alien ship flashed in his mind, the sparks, the trembling engine, the eyes that had looked at him with fear and trust. Evan's heart ached with the weight of both pride and loss. He had done something extraordinary, and yet the world didn't notice. The city didn't reward him. The shipyard didn't care. Only the alien had felt the impact of his actions. A shadow fell across him. Evan looked up, wiping his tears with the back of his hand. Standing there was the blue-skinned alien, the one whose life he had just saved. It was strange to see it without the sparks and smoke, without the panicked movements. It stood tall, calm, and somehow different. "You look like someone who lost something important," the alien said softly. Its voice, translated into basic English, carried a calm, steady weight. Evan stared, speechless. He wanted to look away, to avoid the eyes that seemed to see right through him, but he couldn't. I did," he admitted, voice breaking. "I missed my interview, my dream, years of work wasted." The alien took a slow step closer. Its glowing eyes did not judge, nor did they dismiss. There was understanding there, quiet, patient, and impossible to ignore. "You helped me," it said. "You risked yourself. That is greater than any interview." Evan's chest tightened. "But it cost me everything," he whispered. He looked at his torn jacket, at his burned hands, at the city moving on without him. "I gave up my only chance." The alien bent slightly, studying him carefully. "Sometimes the world measures the wrong things." Its voice was soft but powerful, like a gentle tide washing over broken rocks. "Bravery, kindness, that is rare." Evan looked into those four glowing eyes, and for the first time he felt something other than despair. A small flicker of hope, buried beneath the rubble of lost dreams, stirred inside him. Maybe the world hadn't noticed. Maybe no one would reward him. But someone, this strange alien being, understood. He breathed deeply, trying to calm the storm of emotions inside him. He had lost his slot. He had missed the chance he had dreamed of for years. But in the quiet of that street with the alien standing before him, Evan realized something important. He had not truly failed. He had acted with courage. He had done the right thing when it mattered most. The alien stepped closer still, and Evan felt a strange calm wash over him, like a promise without words. "You did well," the alien said. And in those three simple words, Evan felt a warmth he hadn't expected, a recognition of value, not from the world, but from someone who mattered. For the first time that morning, Evan straightened his back. He looked at the alien, at the city, at the doors of the shipyard now closed forever, and he whispered to himself, "Maybe this is not the end." And somewhere deep down, even amid the pain of lost opportunity, he believed it. Evan sat on the curb, the weight of failure pressing on his shoulders like a physical force. The city moved on around him. Hovering vehicles whirred above, workers bustled past, and the shipyard doors, once filled with hope, now stood closed and indifferent. His dream, years in the making, had slipped through his fingers. Every thought of the future, every plan he had made, felt empty. He buried his face in his hands, trying to hold back the tears. "Do not cry," a calm voice said. Evan froze. He looked up. The alien stood in front of him, tall and still, its four glowing eyes fixed on him with an intensity that made Evan's chest tighten. The morning sun glinted off the alien's smooth, blue skin, highlighting the sharp edges of its jaw and the quiet power in its stance. Evan noticed that the alien's posture had changed, no longer panicked, no longer afraid. There was authority in its movements. I saved your ship," Evan said softly, voice cracking. "But I lost everything. My interview, my chance at a real future. I did the right thing, but it cost me." The alien stepped closer, each movement precise and deliberate. Its translator flickered, stabilizing, and its voice came clearly this time. "I see your choice. I understand it. You acted without expectation, and you acted well." Evan blinked, confused. "You understand. You don't even know me." The alien paused and let out a long, slow breath. Its four eyes seemed to pierce right into Evan's soul. Then, with a calmness that made the air feel heavier, it spoke. "I am Director Calethrex." Evan's stomach dropped. He tilted his head, trying to process the words. "Director Calethrex? Wait, you're the boss of the shipyard, the one everyone's scared of." Calethrex inclined his head slightly. "Yes, I am responsible for this shipyard, for its operations, for the hearing, the policies, everything. That ship you fixed, it is mine. The systems you saved were under my authority." Evan's knees weakened. He wanted to collapse, to laugh, to scream, all at once. His thoughts tumbled over each other. The ship he risked his chance for belonged to the boss himself. I didn't know," Evan whispered, voice trembling. "I just saw it needed help. I didn't think." Calthrex's eyes glowed brighter. "You did not think, you acted, and that is why I am here." He stepped closer, and Evan noticed the alien's aura of authority, the way the air seemed to bend slightly around him. Many come to this shipyard seeking opportunity, seeking recognition, seeking promotion. Few act without personal gain. Fewer still act when it could cost them everything. Evan's mouth went dry. He stared at Calethrex, heart hammering. You're saying what? That I didn't fail." The alien's glowing eyes softened. "No, you passed a test far greater than any interview. Your actions spoke of courage, compassion, and skill. You showed what it means to prioritize life over ambition. That is rare among humans and aliens alike." Evan's mind spun. His hands shook as he tried to comprehend the moment. The despair of missing his interview had weighed on him like an anchor. And now, the very being whose ship he saved was telling him that the choice he thought ruined him was exactly what made him worthy. Calethrex extended a long, slender hand. The translator on his chest emitted a soft hum. "Come with me," he said. "There is a place for those who act with integrity and courage here, not tomorrow, not in some hypothetical future, today." Evan rose slowly, almost in disbelief. He wiped the tears from his face, the weight on his chest beginning to lift. I don't understand. How can this be?" Calthrex's gaze did not waver. "You do not need to understand it now. Only know this, the galaxy respects action, bravery, and honesty. You have shown these qualities. That is more than any paper, any interview, any test can measure. Your path is not lost. It begins now." For the first time in hours, Evan felt a spark of hope ignite in his chest. His despair melted into something he had not felt in a long time, possibility. The doors of the shipyard were closed to him before, but now a new door had opened, one he had never imagined. He looked at Calethrex, standing tall, calm, and powerful. And for the first time, Evan realized that sometimes doing the right thing, even when it costs everything, can change your life in ways you never dreamed possible. The wind blew softly around them. Sparks of sunlight reflected off the towering ships, dancing on Evan's face. And in that moment, the hopeless human youth understood one truth. Kindness and courage could be stronger than luck, timing, or opportunity. They could change fate itself. Calethrex led Evan through the massive gates of the shipyard, the sound of his boots echoing against the metal floor. Evan felt small in the towering halls, surrounded by alien engineers, humans, and hybrid teams working together. Massive ships hovered in suspended bays, their engines humming with raw power. The smell of ozone, oil, and hot metal filled the air. This was no ordinary workplace. It was a cathedral of technology. Evan tried to stand taller, but his nerves still twisted inside him. He had missed his interview. Every preparation, every sleepless night seemed useless moments ago, and yet here he was, walking beside the very being he had saved. Kael'threx didn't speak much. His presence alone commanded attention. Evan could feel it. Workers stopped mid-task to glance at them, whispers trailing behind like shadows. Finally, Kael'threx stopped in front of a massive, half-finished engine. Its panels were open, wires exposed, and it hummed with a strange rhythm that Evan had never encountered. Alien tech, advanced, complicated, unpredictable. A normal human engineer would have run screaming, but Evan's fingers itched. His heart beat faster, not with fear, but with excitement. "This is your test," Kael'threx said, his voice calm and unyielding. "It is not for skill alone. It is for judgment, courage, and integrity. Show me how you work when no one is watching. Show me how you respond when the situation is uncertain. Show me that you are human." Evan swallowed. He could have panicked. He could have said he was not ready. But he remembered the ship he had saved earlier, the aliens' trembling eyes, the sparks flying like fireflies, and the core that could have destroyed everything. That moment had taught him something important. Action matters more than perfection. Courage matters more than timing. He rolled up his sleeves and approached the engine. It was unlike anything he had worked on before. Alien alloys pulsed with energy, circuits ran in patterns he could barely comprehend. He traced the pathways carefully, reading the symbols as best he could. When something didn't make sense, he paused, thinking, and then improvised. He experimented carefully, tested his adjustments, corrected errors, and learned as he worked. Hours passed. Sweat ran down his face. His hands were cut and burned, yet he didn't stop. He didn't rush. Each wire he connected, each panel he sealed, was done with care and precision. Kael'threx observed silently, walking around him, never speaking, but always watching. The alien's presence was heavy, but it pushed Evan to focus, to do better, to be sharper. A small crowd had gathered in the distance, engineers curious about the human who dared to handle Kael'threx's engine. Some whispered, doubted him. Some were impressed already. Evan didn't notice. He only felt the pulse of the machine under his hands, the vibration of energy, the logic that connected everything. Then a critical moment came. A misaligned energy conduit sparked. Evan froze for a fraction of a second, heart thundering. A wrong move could fry the entire system. He took a deep breath. He assessed the risk. He remembered the lesson from the doc: think, act carefully, and prioritize life above all else. His fingers moved deliberately. He rerouted the conduit, sealing it with a precision born of experience and instinct. The hum of the engine stabilized. Kael'threx's 4 eyes glowed brighter. A soft hum of acknowledgement vibrated from the translator. Evan looked up, breathless, wiping his bloodied hands on his jacket. He had done it. The engine hummed smoothly now, fully operational. The crowd of engineers around them whispered in awe. One human muttered, "How did he do that?" Another alien technician shook their head in disbelief. Kael'threx stepped forward. "This human missed his scheduled interview," he said, voice calm but carrying weight that silenced the crowd. Yet he faced an unknown challenge, adapted, and succeeded where many would fail. This is the measure of his worth. Evan's heart pounded. He hadn't been judged by paper tests or rigid interviews. He had been measured by courage, skill, and integrity, and he had passed. Kael'threx turned to him, eyes piercing, voice soft. "Few humans act without immediate reward. Fewer still act under pressure when failure could be catastrophic. You have shown that quality." Evan felt a surge of pride he hadn't felt before. Sweat, blood, burns, and exhaustion faded in the light of that acknowledgement. He understood now. This was the kind of evaluation that truly mattered. It wasn't about rules or schedules. It was about heart, mind, and action. The alien director nodded once, decisively. "You are not just a mechanic. You are a problem solver, a human who acts when it matters. That is why you belong here." Evan's lips trembled. He wanted to speak, to thank, to bow, but words failed him. Instead, he simply nodded, feeling the weight of his past disappointment lift, replaced by a new certainty. He had earned his place. Not by luck, not by chance, but by being human, Evan stood in the massive repair bay, his hands still trembling from the hours of work. The hum of the fully operational alien engine filled the space around him, steady and alive. Sweat dripped from his brow, and his jacket was torn and stained with grease and blood, but he felt something stronger than exhaustion: hope. For the first time in hours, he felt a sense of purpose rising like sunlight over the city. Calethrex approached, his four glowing eyes fixed on Evan. The alien's presence was calm, powerful, and commanding. Engineers and workers nearby had fallen silent, sensing the weight of the moment. Even the machines seemed to pause, as if the energy in the room recognized the significance of this encounter. "You have completed the task," Calethrex said, voice steady but filled with gravity. "Not because you sought reward, not because you feared failure, but because you acted with integrity and courage." Evan swallowed hard, still unable to fully speak. His mind raced. The missed interview, the lost opportunity, the despair he had felt just hours ago, all of it seemed distant now, replaced with a quiet astonishment. Could it be possible? Could the very being whose ship he had saved be offering him something he had thought forever lost? Calethrex extended a long, slender hand holding a data pad. "I am offering you a position, Chief Emergency Engineer, full training, full pay. Your duties will begin immediately." Evan's hands shook as he took the pad. He could barely process the words. I don't understand. Why me?" His voice was hoarse, filled with disbelief. "I was too late. I missed the interview. Calthrex's glowing eyes softened, almost like sunlight reflected on calm water. "Because when faced with a choice between personal ambition and the life of another being, you chose to help. That quality, selflessness under pressure, cannot be taught. It cannot be measured by tests or schedules. That is why humans are valued across the galaxy, and that is why you are worthy of this position." Evan felt tears prick his eyes. For years, he had believed that success meant luck, timing, or privilege, that he had to fight the world in calculated steps, to meet deadlines, and to impress others with his skill. But Calethrex was showing him something else. Success, in the eyes of the galaxy, could mean courage, integrity, and compassion. He looked around at the other engineers, some of whom nodded in respect, others still shocked. Humans were often underestimated, thought to be weak, slow, or foolish. Yet here he stood, recognized not for ambition, but for heart. Evan swallowed, holding the data pad tightly. I don't know what to say." "You do not need to speak," Calethrex said, his voice calm but commanding. "Your actions have spoken louder than any words. You have earned this position. You will serve the shipyard not only as an engineer, but as an example of what humanity can offer when it acts with courage and empathy." Evan's chest swelled. A mix of relief, pride, and disbelief surged through him. He thought back to the moment on the dock when he had climbed onto the damaged ship, sparks flying and fingers burning. He had worried then that he had made the wrong choice. But now he realized that choice had defined him. He nodded, feeling the weight of the offer settle into his hands like a gift heavier than gold. I accept," he said, voice steady now, filled with emotion. "I promise I won't let you down." Calethrex inclined his head once. "I do not doubt it. You have already proven yourself in ways many cannot. The galaxy often underestimates humans, but today you have reminded me, and all who witness this, why they are worthy of trust." Evan felt a strange warmth in his chest, a sense of being seen and understood. Not just for skill, not just for effort, but for who he truly was as a human being. Calethrex gestured to the glowing engine behind them. "Your first duty begins now. Learn, adapt, lead when necessary, and continue to act with the courage and compassion you have already shown. The galaxy will need more like you." Evan's heart raced. He could feel the weight of responsibility, but it did not frighten him. Instead, it inspired him. For the first time, he realized that his life had truly begun, not because of luck or timing, but because he had chosen to act when it mattered most. The other engineers resumed their work, but now they glanced at him with respect. Some smiled. Some whispered about the human who had risked everything and been recognized by the highest authority. Evan looked at Calethrex once more, his mentor, his observer, his benefactor. "Thank you," he said simply. though his voice carried the weight of every lesson, every struggle, every sacrifice that had brought him here. Caelthrex's 4 eyes glimmered softly. "Do not thank me. Thank yourself. You are the proof that humans, when they act with heart, can be stronger than any challenge, braver than any fear, and more valuable than any fortune." Evan nodded, tears falling freely now, but this time from joy, not despair. He had lost his interview, but he had gained something far greater: purpose, respect, and a place among the stars. And in that moment, Evan understood something he had never truly believed before. Sometimes doing the right thing, even when it costs you everything, can be the very thing that opens the doors to a brighter future. Years passed, but Evan never forgot the day he climbed onto Caelthrex's failing ship. That single act, done without thought for reward, had changed the course of his life. The memory still burned in his mind, the sparks flying, the engine trembling, the alien's eyes wide with fear. At the time, he thought he had lost everything: his dream job, his chance at a better life. But it turned out that day was just the beginning. Evan became chief emergency engineer at the interstellar shipyard, a position humans had rarely held. He learned quickly, studied hard, and faced challenges that seemed impossible. Alien engines, hybrid systems, complex energy cores, he tackled them all. But more importantly, he did so with the same honesty, courage, and compassion that had saved Caelthrex's ship that day. Every task he performed, every crisis he faced, he remembered the lesson: help first, think of yourself second. It didn't take long for the story of Evan's bravery to spread across the shipyard. Engineers whispered about the human who had risked everything to save an alien vessel. His story traveled beyond the gates. Aliens from distant sectors began requesting human engineers. At first, people doubted. Humans were considered weak, unpredictable, or reckless. Yet Evan's story challenged that notion. When things went wrong, when engines failed or systems threatened catastrophe, humans acted. They adapted, they survived, and they helped. One day, Caelthrex stood on a high platform overlooking the busy shipyard floor, addressing a group of visiting alien dignitaries. His 4 glowing eyes scanned the crowd until they landed on Evan, who was supervising a team of humans and aliens repairing a damaged engine. "When my ship failed," Caelthrex began, voice carrying through the bay, a human youth stepped forward. He risked everything: his safety, his opportunity, his future, to act when it mattered most. That human is Evan Cole. He paused, letting the words sink in. The engineers below listened silently. Caelthrex continued, "Humans are often underestimated. They are fragile by appearance, chaotic by nature, and impulsive at times. Yet when tested, when the choice is between self-interest and responsibility, they rise, they act, they save lives, they make the impossible possible." Evan's heart swelled. He had faced fear, doubt, and despair. He had lost his first chance, but he had gained something far greater: a trust that spanned species, systems, and star clusters. In that moment, he realized why humans were needed in the galaxy. Not because they were the smartest, the fastest, or the strongest, but because they cared, because they acted when it mattered, because they could rise above fear and do what was right. Caelthrex's eyes glowed brighter, a faint smile touching his alien features. Evan Cole's actions remind us that when chaos reigns, when systems fail, when others hesitate, humans will step forward. They will choose courage. They will choose life. That is why the galaxy places its trust in them. Evan looked around at the bustling bay, humans and aliens working side by side, engines humming, ships readying for launch. He thought of the dock that morning years ago, the sparks, the panic, the fear in Caelthrex's eyes. Back then, he had been scared, unsure, and overwhelmed. But he had acted, and that simple choice had rippled across the galaxy, creating a legacy he had never imagined. He smiled softly, brushing grease from his hands. The story wasn't just about him. It was about all humans. Each human who chose to act, to help, to risk something for the sake of others became part of that story. And that story, Caelthrex had said, was why the galaxy trusted them. Evan paused for a moment, gazing out at the stars visible through the massive bay windows. He thought of the countless ships, the countless lives, the countless crises yet to come. Somewhere in the vastness of space, there would always be a moment when a human would be needed, and he knew without a doubt that they would act. As the hum of engines filled the room, Evan felt a quiet pride. He had missed his first chance, but he had gained a purpose far greater than a job or recognition. He had become part of something larger, something enduring, something that reminded every alien, every engineer, and every human alike that when the galaxy falters, humans rise. And Kael'Threx's voice, calm and resolute, echoed in his mind. When my ship failed, a human youth saved it, even when it cost him everything, and that is why the galaxy trusts humanity. Evan smiled, a tear rolling down his cheek. He had lost nothing. He had gained everything. Zend,